Greetings, Tomopop. It's Chris Pranger here, and it is the end of January. The end of a month means toys of yesterday. And last month, end of last year, December, I was talking Street Sharks. And I mentioned that I was going to talk about Ninja Turtles today. These classic guys. False, actually. I'm not going to talk about these Ninja Turtles, even though they are some of my favorite action figures ever, because we've covered Ninja Turtles on Toys of Yesterday a while ago. I'm not going to talk about these guys. I'm going to talk about these guys. These are toys based off of the short-lived live-action Ninja Turtle series that you've either forgotten about or didn't know about or purposefully blanked from your memory, called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation, or just simply Ninja Turtles: Next Mutation. This was on Fox Kids in late 1996, I believe September 96 to March of 97. Didn't last long, 26 episodes. Live action, though, that was weird. Like, it didn't make any sense. It followed the continuity, not of the animated series, but of the movies, kind of. Such as the Turtles lived in the abandoned subway station from movies 2 and 3. Splinter had a chunk out of his ear. That kind of thing. But April was missing. Casey Jones was missing. The Shredder was still alive, but he got kind of pushed aside for a different character very quickly, which was really dumb. And the biggest inclusion was they added a fifth Ninja Turtle, a female, named Venus de Milo. Alright. She's got a light blue color. That's her, apparently, color. And she's trained in the art of shinobi. As opposed to just being a ninja, she's a shinobi ninja. Who cares? Live action show that was just god-awful. But I was pumped because it's Ninja Turtles, and I couldn't be more excited. I used to get Fox Kids magazine as a kid because it was, I believe, free. And I was so excited when they showed a thing for, like, Ninja Turtles are coming back, wait till September. I just couldn't wait. I had dreams about how exciting this was going to be to see my buddies, Ninja Turtles, back on top with more new stuff. And sure enough, we started to get new figures. As soon as the show came out, the show turned out to be awful, but the figures were not the worst thing ever. Here's the comparison. So, original Ninja Turtle, Michelangelo from the Mirage toy line. This is a Michelangelo from the later toy line. Sadly, I don't have all the accessories on me. I think those are at my parents' house. I have some to show. I have a bunch of vehicles here, but I don't have the accessories, which are so worth mentioning because all of them are ridiculous. Like Michelangelo, because nunchucks were getting outlawed pretty bad, he couldn't use nunchucks, so he has like these, I don't know what they're called, but they're like batons, like the police batons. He got to use those things. Like Tally uses Tally, not Tally. Whatever her face was in Soul Calibur, who whipped them around, and elbow blades, but they weren't blades, they're police batons. Michelangelo used police batons, and they could extend, and everybody had different weapons. Like, Raphael had his sai, but they were huge, stupid huge, and they could attach together to make this long staff. And Leonardo had one huge sword, but it could split into two swords? I don't really know. Donatello still just had a bow staff, but it was really dumb looking, and I'll show you that in a moment. I just got to show off these action figures here because they are much different than these. These were pretty hard plastic. They were kind of rigid. They only had the joints only moved up and down here, and the legs had kind of they were on a pivot joint a little bit, and the head moved and all that. That was that. Well, these new ones, the arms and the legs are really loose, and the material is really flexible, like rubbery, which is fine for the most part. Like, I found a lot of fun with this because I got into Dragon Ball Z pretty heavily, and somehow this became like standard Michelangelo. This became Michelangelo in his Super Saiyan type thing. You're seeing behind the veil here. This is what I did as a kid. So this was Michelangelo in his super mutant form, to me, because he was brighter and bigger and stronger looking. And he was pretty fun to play with, because you could just, like, you could pop off arms and stuff. So if he got hit with a super energy blast, you could pop off every bit of the joints that he had, which was kind of cool. And if you really wanted to, you could replace some joints with characters from other joints. So now he's got Raph's arm. Like, I could make an amalgamation of all the different turtles, and it would just be kind of crazy here. So now he's Rainbow Turtle. I could do that if I wanted to. I did sometimes, because sometimes that's just kind of what you want to do, is mess around with stuff. So, like, the turtles themselves have different looks to them. Like, they look different. Like, Michelangelo has a full head bandana. Like, pretty full, except for the top of his head. That was his thing. Leonardo has the top. Raphael has the classic. And for some reason, he was the only one that I could actually pop the back of the bandana off. For some reason. I don't know why. But that was kind of that. And they all look different, though. So Mike was kind of my standard size to judge off of. And like I said, I love the fact that these joints popped on and off. Really nice, because you want to play hard with these toys. Like, Raph was short, which is right, because Raph is short. Leo was a significantly larger toy than the others. Like, he looked beastly. Some of the Batum just looked big and strong and tough. And that was cool, because he's supposed to be the leader. Like, he's very rarely that cool. Venus's figure, not as cool as anybody else, because she's, you know, she's the female. And all their weapons, like I said, I wish I had them. They're flimsy, they're crappy, and their hands don't really, like, they're not in positions. Like, she's not in any position to hold a weapon and be threatening. She's smiling too much for Ninja Turtle. Like someone who knows Shinobi, she's smiling way too much. Dawn here comes from a slightly different line. These turtle line did not go crazy. It didn't get a chance to go crazy like the original Mirage toys did, and just make everything they could. Just crazy, crazy, crazy. Am I getting this wrong? Is this Mirage? Playmates, excuse me. Playmates. That would have haunted me bad. I knew something was wrong. Playmates toys. These were not like those. So they didn't have crazy variations of like sports turtles, war turtles, Old West turtles, high fantasy turtles. They didn't have that. They did, however, have a line that had skateboards. And like, here's just, this is one of the few accessories I have on me, is Donatello's bow staff, which is not good, because it's supposed to be able to like go around, like he's supposed to be able to carry it, but it's not functional. This, however, was the extreme skateboarding Donatello, so he is not made of the same rigid plastic. You can't pop his arms and legs off, otherwise you'll just break him, period. But he would go onto his skateboard, because this is the mid-90s to, you know, early late 90s, 96. Extreme sports are big, and so skateboarding definitely has to be hit. So he's got a skateboard here that also apparently converts into a luge board, because luging was big then too, except it doesn't fit on it very well. I don't even want to try to fit him on, because it doesn't work well. But a skateboard was cool, and that was fun, and it had a little projectile. I can't find it at this moment. I have it in my stuff, but I didn't know to be looking for it. So yeah, it has a projectile. But this was the difference between these two. There was a whole series, all 5 of the turtles, and that sounds wrong to say all 5, but all 5 of them had this version. They all had pants. Donatello here wearing pants looks just wrong. These now look naked in comparison. Still cool stuff. And of course you could take off their belts, but they were much more elaborate. It wasn't worth taking off anything. However, the new villain, Dragon Lord, because I didn't grab the Shredder toy. I don't remember why I didn't, but I didn't grab that one, because Dragon Lord was the new guy. This looks nothing like what he looks like on the show, by the way. He looks like he's got a dragon face. Here, as you can see, not a dragon face. He's got a removable cape. I don't think this was the standard issue figure either. I think this was a special one, because the cape is reversible for some dumb reason, and it came with a like little cardboard backboard, because it was supposed to be implied that he was incognito, so you could put his hands through these holes and he would be able to camouflage against this stupid cardboard thing with things like rats stink, turtles bite, Dio was here, like over and over, like this was his camouflage. So you never wanted to, like no kid would think that would be worth it. No one liked that. So everyone, of course, just wore the normal cape, except it was this black underside that had a bunch of stupid graffiti written on it. Basically, you got rid of the cape. You stop using the cape at all. But then he becomes this, he has the big problem of toys that have shoulder things, like shoulder features, whether they're shoulder pads or whatnot. This happened with Dragon Ball Z toys with Saiyan armor, where that's as far as their arms can go. Piccolo was the worst for this. He could not move his arms past this, and Dragon Lord here shows that. He's got these, he's in a weak, like, stupid position. He can't threaten you, really. He can't fight you. And the weird thing is, he has this little bit here. It's like something went there. I don't think I have anything for him to put there. The back here looks like something was supposed to be molded right back here, possibly the cape. I don't know. So this was a confusing toy to me. I still played with it a lot. This was the ultimate villain in a lot of plot lines in Ninja Turtles, even though I was still using the original Ninja Turtles in plot lines. This guy showed up, and so they had to evolve into the Super Mutants and fight this guy. And it happened all the time. And the weirdest thing is this guy had a gun. This is a gun that the ultimate villain uses. He can hardly hold it. Like, he can, but not very well. This is comical. Let me put in a weapon. Like this is a projectile that goes into it. This is just like silly, which makes sense though, considering these were made, like the show was following, like it was being produced by the people who were doing the Power Rangers show, Bandai, in the U.S. So, and they even had a crossover, by the way. Ninja Turtles fought Power Rangers. It was not good, but they did it. That is I shot myself with a projectile. That's kind of the toys, but there were more. I did get a really cool Raphael, because this was the one where they introduced Raphael, because he's like the movie and like the comic books, he was the rebel. So he, of course, had a motorcycle, which was cool because motorcycles were cool, and they actually made a pretty cool motorcycle for him to ride around on. I'll say that much. I did not say this was Raphael, though, because I wanted more toys and more characters, so this turned into Sam the Turtle. I was not very crazy, like, original with my names when I, was coming up with stuff, but it had, like, a little stand here, and strange, really weird, you could pull out these sword blade-like things, so it was all about, oh, he's riding by someone's slice, getcha. I always said it was like wings, because flying toys were cool to me, and this had this popped up and shot a projectile as well. So nailed it. Nice. This was pretty darn cool for me. Like, I loved this. I played with this all the time, but I can do you one better. The Turtle Humvee is probably, this is going to be blasphemous to a lot of people. This is better than the Turtle Van. I know. These toys, I should not be saying nice things about these, but this is better than the Turtle Van, because the Turtle Van in the original toy line could carry a handy number of turtles. It was cool. It could, you could open the top and then the side thing popped out, and that was cool. But that's about as much as it did. Let's go through the features here of the Turtle Humvee. It does comfortably seat 4 turtles, which works because Raph is supposed to be on a motorcycle, or I had Donatello on a skateboard/luge board. So that would work fine for me. You pop this thing open here, and even though you fit the turtles in, you can come over here, and they've got this whole command center. They're not going to be using this while riding around, like it didn't really make sense, but you could pull this down here, and what do you know? They can stand here and do their tech stuff while they're driving. Not safe, but that was kind of that. And then the side thing, again, you just press down the steering wheel, and these little things pop out here. Like, they're just like slamming rods. This was a big thing, I guess, in the 90s, was making cars that had things that shot out of the side and hit people. Alright. Front here popped up. You could shoot pizzas out of this, because why not? That was weird. That had a ramp in the back you could pull out. the bike doesn't even fit in this unless it's like up like that, kind of. So the ramp this didn't fit. Maybe maybe one of these. Maybe one of these like that. There we go. See, you could fit a skateboard back here. So I guess the ramp was for the skateboard to come up. But why? Why there? And finally, they had a winch that this was not big enough to really fit on anything. Maybe you could like clip it to Dragon Lord's wrist. Yeah, it fits perfectly around his wrist, which is kind of weird, to be honest, because this isn't going to fit around the bike. This is going to fit around the skateboard. This is for dragging their enemy behind the Humvee. That's cool. I'm down with that. But that's Next Mutation. These toys, I loved these toys at the time. They were cool to me. There's not a lot in the toy line, which is a shame. And that's pitiful for Ninja Turtles, knowing how much Ninja Turtles had just variety. Very, very little was done because it only lasted about 6 months, 6 or 7 months total, and then it was gone. Like, that was it, and people started actively trying to forget. Oh, I forgot. This goes on the top of the turtle Humvee, and it's a ball cannon. So I can shoot all sorts of stuff every which way. This, I don't think you're gonna find this very easily. Most of these toys you're not going to find very easily. I looked up, and a lot of these guys, I think I found Michelangelo for about 40 bucks on just searching Google Shopping. A lot of the toys, I saw Donatello, not this one, but one of these type, for $40 to be pretty standard. If you're looking to get these in the packaging, that's not too bad, but it's not too cheap. And these definitely aren't you're not going to find a lot of these at garage sales because no one was buying these things. And it's weird because they were really cool. Like, I like these. Were just fun. There's like adding more Ninja Turtles. That's cool. They're not as great as these. They don't have the variety these guys have. But this was like fun to imagine that these were a line in these toys. They weren't, but it was fun to imagine that because we still got some cool ones and some I got it because I felt obligated to toys. But yeah, as you can see, I got into these. You're not going to find them that cheap. Some you're not going to find at all because they're just hard to find. Not common in comic shops, not common at garage sales and thrift stores. You're just going to have to get lucky, or you're going to have to search them down. And I would recommend it if you find it in a thrift store for anything under 20 bucks, even, especially if it's in the packaging. Buy it right away. Buy these because they are pretty fun, to be honest. But you're not going to get. It's going to be hard to find. Like, so use your own discretion for that. And that's all there is to say about these. They're cool, but it's so confusing. This is a dark time in Ninja Turtles' life. Things then got better with the next animated show when it started in 2003, but then the toys for that, I hated those ones. They're boring. I hated them. But that's all I have to say about that. Next Mutation, terrible show, good toys. TMNT 2003, great show, some great toys. We got a new TMNT coming out, I think this year. New animated series this year, so we're going to get more toys and more everything. Let's hope it's good. That's all for me. It's Chris Pranger and Toys of Yesterday for Tomopop. We'll see you next month.